Okay, you guys ready? Audience ready?
Are we looking up?
Count them out, maybe.
This is like when you're at a quinceañera turning.
Number one.
Oh.
Okay.
Hold on just a second.
Okay. Do you guys have a workout playlist? Do you have certain songs that you finished your last rep to? Well, there's actually a scientific reason behind why we make a playlist or why we have certain songs that we like. And I want to get into that today. And I just want to say that music is entertaining, but it also affects our brain and like our body. And I got all my resources from the Harvard Medicine website, and I also got it from the National Library of Medicine, so my sources are credible. My 3 main points of this speech will be that about how the brain physically reacts when you're listening to music. My second main point will be how people with disorders or illnesses, how their brain reacts when listening to music. And my last point will be how music is actively used in therapy. So let's go to my first point. When listening to music, the right side of our brain tends to activate. And as many of you know, the right side of our brain is usually the creative side. So when listening to music, your creativity spikes up. So you want to create art, or you want to go for a run or something like that. Now, the specific parts in the right side of the brain are the primary auditory cortex, and that is basically what processes your raw audio. Another part of the right brain that lights up is the secondary auditory cortex, and that's how you recognize rhythm and tune and stuff like that. And then there's the superior temporal cortex, the temporal pole, and the middle temporal pole. And all 3 of those help interpret feelings and connect the feelings to the song. And those 3 help recognize beats, and that's why you sing along to songs that come on the radio. So music isn't just heard, but it's actually interpreted throughout the entire brain. And yeah, so my second point, or main point, about how people with disorders and illnesses, people respond to music emotionally and motivationally. So emotionally, you hear a song or you hear lyrics and you connect it to a memory and feelings, or you can make a new memory and feelings out of hearing those. And then motivationally, it helps with your ANS system, or your autonomic nervous system. Your autonomic nervous system is your involuntary movements, like blinking and your heart rate. So it makes your heart rate go up when listening to music, which makes you want to do stuff to get your heart rate go, Oh, shoot. But people with disorders are a little bit different. So OCD, for example, obsessive compulsion disorder, is defined as maladaptive stress assessment. And those diagnosed, basically, they aren't able to recognize threats in their environment, the level of threat in their environment. So when listening to music, the orbitofrontal cortex, which is your decision-making or your risk evaluating part of your brain, it can become overstimulating. So when you're listening to music, OCD symptoms and your anxiety symptoms, they tend to go up, which isn't very good if you already have OCD and you're like, ah. Okay, so my last main point was about how music is being used in therapy today. So many research has shown that when you're listening to music, people with epilepsy listen to music, their frequency of strokes tend to go down, which I think is a pretty good thing. And those who survive stroke and tumors can deal with something called tone deafness, which is they just can't recognize musical tones. And when they listen to music a lot, they can retrain that part of their brain that can recognize musical tones, which is really cool. That part of the brain that repairs it is called the neuroplasty, and So basically, my point of this main point is that music increases your ability to hear musical tones. And it also increases motivation, like I've already gone over, so it increases your chance of going back to therapy if they have music. It'll make you more motivated to go back. And it can also help with speech therapy, which I thought was pretty cool. But I feel like I don't usually hear people say that it is related to speech therapy. But in the future, hopefully there's more therapeutic solutions for diseases like depression and anxiety. But they're already making some movement forward. And music's immediate ability to gain focus is already improving therapy. So in conclusion, music is entertainment, but it also influences our ANS, autonomic nervous system. It mimics an adrenaline rush, and it helps us focus. It isn't helpful for everybody, but it does help some. And we've covered how music occurs in the brain, how music and disorders are related, and finally its uses in therapy. So thanks for listening to me in your guys' lunch break. I gotta cite my sources now. So my first article was called Music Resonates in the Brain, and it was by Allison Eck, and it was on the website Harvard Medicine. My second article was Cognito Crescendo, How Music Shapes Brain Structure and Function, and that was by Corneliu Toder, and that was on the website National Library of Medicine. And my last article was called Music in the Brain, The Neuroscience of Music and Musical Appreciation. And that was by Michael Trimble, and it was on the National Library of Medicine website.
Well done.
I turned red.